Bryan, how are you doing, man? Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Yeah, it's been a while.
It has been. And apparently you have another book. You've been busy.
Yeah, I'm just always looking for reasons to get you to say, yes, let's talk. So I have to keep writing books. So last time we talked, it was the old school, like the incumbents, and they're all facing the startups. So I was like, well, let's round out the conversation. So I dug in this time with startups, it's been really cool. It's a very different book, same kind of structure, but totally different. Because it's not like we did this one thing in this one part of our business. It's like the entire story. I was really actually struggling with whether this compliance story is enough of its own. So there almost were 4 major takeaways, but I'm an ex-consultant and we always think in 3. So I felt this like law that I have to stick to 3. But in most of these startups, it suddenly became this strategic advantage or driver of strategic advantage because they embraced compliance early in their journey and early in their process in anything they do, so that they looked at it as like, what if this wasn't a fight? Like, what if this unlocked things for us? What if this actually made it easier instead of being that pain we are going to have to deal with at some point? It was interesting for me to break out a PNC. Like, I'm a PNC guy, so 2 of the cases are not PNC. There's Clover Health and Beam Dental is the other one, which is an awesome story. Really cool founding team. And yeah, I mean, it's like making dental actually really exciting. So I enjoyed that one. But Clover, I think maybe I'm biased because I'm a PNC guy, but I feel like health insurance is, and I'm sorry if this offends people, but it's where insurance gets the worst of its name. No, if you think about it, what's your most common insurance interaction? It's your health insurance. That's the one people are more likely to go see a doctor than to smash up their car or have a tree fall through, the place they live, or get sued, D&O lawsuit kind of thing. Like, it's your health insurance. So in effect, like, their model was inherently way more expensive and less profitable or more money losing for several years until the Clover Assistant was ready to go. So think about, how much capital you're going to burn and what it takes from like your venture backers, your investors, to really buy into your vision, to stand through what is going to amount to literally hundreds of millions of dollars spent until you can start to do what you said you were going to do. That takes a really strong alignment in vision. So for Thimble, the space that they're writing into, or they're trying to compete on, that's all admitted. So it's GL and it's BOP and it's professional liability. Like, these are, that's the space I came from at Hiscox. Like, it's admitted products, and that's how they're bought and how they're sold, and they're sold direct. The economics of it, it's hard to compete when you have much more distribution and process and taxes. When you're competing against an admitted product, the admitted's going to be cheaper. It's pretty much a given because there's things it doesn't have to carry. The flip side is, like Neptune, who's working in flood, that's not a space where the admitted market has done anything or been able to do anything, because it's really high exposure, very low frequencies. It doesn't happen often, but when it does, the losses are pretty substantial. And effectively, the only player is NFIP, the National Flood Insurance Program, which is the federal government. So, you can't get flood coverage from your homeowner's carrier. You can get some types of sort of flood coverage, like sump pump backup. But that's different, and it's much more limited. It's not going to pay for your whole house if your house is flooded. And I've had a flood in my home, so I got to see that firsthand.
So, although we already gave Jim a shout out, we'll do that again.
So I've worked for Brits for like 10 years, not anymore, but I did. So I was used to, kind of starting early because like global teams. So, you've got stuff coming in from the UK early. And I'm a morning person, I always have been, and I like to do a long workout. So I get up early, get all that done before the rest of the world wakes up. And that's always worked out really nicely for me. Funny enough, that guy who wouldn't talk anymore about business at breakfast happened to be coming to town. They heard through their reinsurance broker that he was coming. So they reached out and they're like, let's meet in the bar downstairs in our building, over like rolled gold pretzels. Now they had more of a story because they had the reinsurer, they had the investor, so it wasn't as flimsy, if you will, as that initial breakfast conversation. And he listened, and he was like, all right, let me take this back. And they ended up saying yes. Yeah.
Bryan, thank you very much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure. By the way, when is the book coming out? What's the exact date?
June 22nd.
Okay.
Yep. So, yeah. And it's actually available already in some formats, but that's on paperback and Kindle drop. The Audible is available already, and the hardcover is available already.
So people can actually go and buy it.
Everything from Amazon.